Well, it's Brandon Day on the ranch, and you start off by bringing your cows and calves in, and you sort off the calves from the cows, and that's what you're seeing here. Get a gate and a pen, and the cows go into one pen and the calves go into the other, and the calves go into pens that will eventually run them into the squeeze chute, what they call a calf table. This particular ranch is decided to brand with calf tables. It doesn't need as much branding with calf tables doesn't need as much labor as roping and branding and all that, and it's a little bit easier on the calf. But you got to get them sorted first, and that's what they're doing. These cows are pretty good tempered. Some new mamas can have a pretty nasty attitude, and these are all doing, they're pretty good. They're not having much trouble getting these calves sorted. Ranching is a family thing and also a community thing, because when you brand, you usually have your neighbors come, and then when they brand, you go and help them. It's springtime, and that's why everybody's got boots on. Pretty hard to have dry pens in the spring. And when I say boots, I mean muck boots, rubber muck boots. On Brandon Day, you do several things. You brand your calves, you vaccinate them, and they have a 7-way. They have a different vaccines, but generally you're trying to cover respiratory and intestinal the different respiratory and intestinal diseases, and you vaccinate them for that. You brand them, and the steer calves get castrated. This particular ranch has, I'm sure they'll still have some cows that haven't calved yet. But they pick a day for branding when they'll get most of their calves branded, and this particular ranch runs about 250 head. So today they're probably going to brand close to 200 calves. It's usually a pretty long day, but it's a good day. You get your neighbors and your friends, and it's hard work, but at the end usually you end up having a meal and get to drink a beer and enjoy the day. One of the main things on Brandon Day is keeping a hot iron. If you don't keep a hot iron, it slows Brandon down. And if you'll notice here, they've got a propane stove. They built this themselves, and keeping a fire going like the old timers did was just a whole lot more work. So these are homemade brands. Not all of them are homemade brands, but most of them are, and some people, their duty for the day is just to maintain the brands and the fire, the stove, the cook stove, and keep the brands coming to the ranchers good and hot. Most everybody nowadays, some old timers still do cut, use a knife when they castrate. But the choice of getting to be so many choices to band them like you just saw. Banding is that band goes around the testicles, and after a week or two, the testicles will dry up and fall. The calves are run down an alleyway into what they call a calf chute. You see that calf chute catches them by the head and then squeezes down and flips over. That gives you access to do the branding and do the vaccinating and the castrating. This particular ranch their brand is Quarter Circle /I. It's a good old brand. It's been in the family for many years. When it comes to branding, you want a good hot iron, and that's mainly so that you can burn through the hair. And obviously, it's got to, the calves feel it because a lot of times they beller out, but it's something that's got to be done. But in the out west, a lot of ranchers run their cattle together, especially up on the forest. And a calf without a brand's like a car without a title. Whoever's in possession of it, that's going to who belongs to it. But with a brand on it, it's obvious who it belongs to. And you could try maybe ear tags, but ear tags they get pulled out, and obviously an ear tag can be changed. So maybe in the future, when they get computer chips and every cowboy's got a reader, right now, branding's going to stick around for, I think, quite a while. Tradition, I think, when it comes to branding is you get a lot of help. Vaccinating and sorting and doing the castrating, but I think tradition pretty much dictates that the rancher, the owner of the cattle, does most of the branding, and that may go back to maybe they didn't trust anyone else to put the right brand on the cattle. But that's kind of the tradition. The owner does the actual iron. We showed the banding tool earlier, and here it is being used. You want to be sure you get both testicles, because one testicle is as good as two. After that calf branded, vaccinated, and ear tagged, he's ready to go. On to the next one. Sometimes you got to be careful. A family like this might have 2 or 3 brands. Most of them will be the main brand, but sons run their own cattle, and you want to make sure that when the son's cattle or whoever it is comes through, you got to get the right brand on it. Branding Day is it's a hard job. It's a lot of work, but at the end of the day, most everybody, they feed everybody, and you have a beer, and you enjoy the company of your neighbors, and it makes life good on the ranch.